Hey friends, here's a little update in my echoey, soon-to-be recording studio here in London in this house we moved into. If you want to move abroad, part 5. What I want to tell you in this installment is more on costs. So we've been here a little over 2 weeks. Our stuff from America hasn't arrived yet. We've probably spent close to $10,000 US to gather everything we need for this house. It's a 3-story house. It's just over 1,000 square feet, so it's 1/3 the size of our Nashville house and costs more than our Nashville house, but that's typical for London. And a lot of the costs are associated with, you're gonna need to buy a lot of the electronic devices that you already had. Toasters, coffee makers, televisions, what have you, because the voltage is different here. As far as my guitar amps went, I actually asked a builder a few years ago to build me amps that had transformers to step down that would work automatically from at 120 volts or 240 volts. So that was pretty smart on my part for a change. But everything else we had to buy. And we've been buying. Our stuff has not shown up from America, but we didn't bring too much as far as furniture because it's just a lot. You know, again, we're going from a 3,000 square foot house to a 1,000 square foot house. So we made the decision that for the most part, we were gonna furnish it ourselves. So I bought a studio desk right here. If you're interested in those sort of things, I just made a video on that. It's a sit-stand desk, which I've wanted for several years, and I put it together myself. However, I saved a good deal of money on it because it was on a Black Friday sale. It normally would have been 1,200 pounds. And I got it for 600 pounds, which is probably $800 US. But some of these sit-stand desks go up to $2,000 or more. So that was a good deal. Still looking for a couch. The difference between buying furniture here in London is in America, you go in, you say, yeah, I want that couch, and they either have it in the back or it gets delivered to you a week later at the most. I don't think it's ever taken that long. And most of the time they just said, oh, I want that couch, and boom, they deliver the couch the next day or so. Not here. They're all floor models. So you pick something out and it will show up 2 to 3 weeks later if you're lucky, and it will be a lot more expensive than you would get in America, obviously. So figure everything is 30% more here because that's the exchange rate right now between the dollar and the pound. It's pretty close to 30% more. So that's one thing to consider. So remember that you're gonna have to buy electronic devices. You're maybe you wanna move your furniture, but in a place like London, it's really tricky to get it delivered. Having the entrance to get the stuff in and out, to get it up very narrow stairs. The stairways are much narrower in London than in America, just naturally. That's what they're used to. It was pre-war that way, so it stayed that way. The steps are narrower. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, okay, I've got size 14 feet, I know. But the steps are way narrower here, so I have to be really careful about that. So don't expect to be bringing your furniture from America easily up and down buildings, wherever you choose to live. Rents are more. So yeah, we've spent about 10 grand in the first 2 weeks, but we expected that. So I'm just warning you. Expect that, expect things to be 30% more, expect to buy your electronic devices. Don't expect to get things immediately when you see furniture you like that it will be immediately available unless it's a floor model. We saw a floor model of a couch that we wanted, but we wanted to take overnight to think about it because it was the only one. And when we came back the next day, somebody else had bought it because the floor models are usually heavily discounted. Like, figure a couch is like 2,000 pounds. This one was 870. Somebody grabbed it right away. Probably after we walked out of the store, the next people that saw it bought it. So you have to consider that, and that very often stuff will not be available right away. So those are things to consider. You're going to spend money. It's going to cost, everything's going to cost more. It's not going to be as easy to furnish things or get up and down with stuff. Like with this desk, we brought it up piece by piece, literally piece by piece up to the third floor, got it delivered on the first floor, obviously, and then I put it together step by step. It took probably most of the day, and I was really careful. And I'm not good at this stuff. Well, we have an advantage, though. We have what they call a garden, but it's just, an outdoor space. Brits love their outdoor space, and it's understandable in a city. But we had a gate that opens to the side street, and the gate can get open pretty wide so we can get deliveries from there. So that's one advantage that we have that I don't see. I'm looking out right now at my neighbors. Nobody else has that on this street, I don't think. Yeah, no. So we're really lucky we can get these deliveries when we want to. But again, if I want stuff up to the second and third floor, it's better that it's not put together so I can take it up in piecemeal. Whether I want to put it together or not is another story, but that's kind of like the only way to do it. Yeah, so I think that's about it for this installment. And if you have any questions, let me know. It's not easy to do all of this. And it started again 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago for us. And it was helpful that I got an EU passport that we had started the process for. However, by the time I got the EU passport, Britain had left the EU. So I had to then go through the visa process. So there was a passport process that took 3 years, and then a visa process that took another 2 years. But for us, it's worth it. We love it here. We love London. I just found out that I can get to Denmark Street, where all the guitar stores are, in 3 stops if I take a bus to a different tube station. I was like, yes. Because it was 50 minutes to get there. Now it's going to be 25 minutes. So I'm looking into more ways to be economical about that, because the workshops I normally go to on Friday nights with Eddie Prevo takes me pretty close to an hour to get over to Tower Bridge from where I am. And if I can cut 20 minutes off that, that's what I would be really hopeful to do that. So, once you get settled here and a little more comfortable, you start learning these things. And for me, that's a boon, because I hate driving. I don't want to have a car here. I don't want to drive on the wrong side of the road. That's a joke, because they say it's the correct side of the road here. It makes me laugh. And hopefully I don't annoy them when I say it's wrong. But 70% of the world drives on the side that America does, right? Right? At least the non-colonies. So I don't like to drive. I love taking mass transit. I often refer to London as a more civilized New York, and I have no shame in saying that, being from New York. So to us, all of this is worth it. The cost, the hassle, the smaller space, and having to wait for things. But tell me what you think, all right? If you have any questions, let me know.